Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot, I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code. Switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. What's growing on? What is growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to health, food, nutrition, marketing, economics, all for the Black family and for the Black community. I'm John Henry Harris, and we also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Now, today we're going to talk about a very serious topic. Now, back in March, we had the USDA. They were lauded and praised for passing the Farmers of Color Act, which promised to give $4 billion in debt relief for Black farmers. Admittedly, by the USDA government, the USDA admitted that these Black farmers, they were suffered from decades of systematic racism that kept them off of a level playing field and receiving compensation, being part of services that will help their farm operations grow. Now, fast forward, we're in September. Fast forward all the way to September, and these Black farmers still have not received their debt relief. And not only have they not received their debt relief, that the Farmers of Color Act now, it definitely has been expanded to include a range of farmers outside of Black farmers as well. So with everything that's going on in Afghanistan, it's sad that things come to light, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's just the fact that the Taliban gets more money from the U.S. government than Black farmers. Very serious topic, but it's eye-opening, and hopefully we can shed more light on the plight of our Black farmers, as they deserve so much more than what they're getting. There is a high level of reparative justice that is owed to them, but in the overall grand scheme of things, as our Black farmers suffer, that is less food that is available for Americans overall. So, Farmer Brown, let's jump straight into it, bro.
First, I just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well. Hopefully, wherever you're at, the weather is formidable. I can almost just get a tape recorder and plus replay of conversations we were having earlier this year. When we saw all of the tricknology and the verbiage, the wordplay within the bill for Black farmers, which turned into socially disadvantaged, which turned into farmers of color, you almost knew that we would be in September and nothing was going to be done. And then what's happened, before then? Not only have we had climactic events that have definitely affected the farmers, when we think about the hurricanes, when we think about the droughts, Now Afghanistan. We're in a world where, you got to be PC, you got to be politically correct, you got to be conscientious, empathetic of all parties involved. And so I would first like to say, I come from a family on my mother and father's side of people that have served in the military. And so nothing in what I say or John is disparaging of the military. We understand for a lot of the advantages, amenities that we've enjoyed here on Turtle Island over most of our lifetimes, it's due to military presence in other places where resources are extracted. According to Forbes, and I'm not a mathematician, according to Forbes, and so over the last, during the course of time that we've been, the Army has been in Afghanistan, I think they said 40 million Afghanistan citizens have received in some way, shape, or form equivalent of $50,000. Each citizen for their time over there has received $50,000, and it's 40 million of them. I think that 40 million number is very interesting and ironic, because when we think about melanated peoples here in the West, they say, around 40 million, 50 million, depending on whose numbers you're going by, it is. And this money went over there. Let's not be greedy. We break it down to just the farmers. We also know, dealing in the law of fours, there's about 40,000, give or take a few thousand, black farmers. So you can imagine, okay, 50,000 to every Afghan civilian. Once again, we're not disparaged of anybody just wanting to have a better life, day to day, feed your kids, take care of your family. But if the U.S. invested 50,000, because I don't know any farmer that wouldn't gladly receive $50,000 worth of resources, equipment, seed, operational costs, labor costs, 50,000, that would be $2 billion. And that's giving every one of the black farmers in North America $50,000. The relief bill that was proposed was only $4 billion, actually a little under $4 billion. And as it was scripted, it was only going to, when we're talking about just melanated farmers, only give under about 13,000 farmers debt relief. It wasn't put money in your pocket. It's just, hey, if you borrowed some money from one of our lending agencies, we'll give you debt relief. This is real disheartening, man, but I look forward to digging into this conversation.
You can read the banner at the bottom of the screen. In the 20 years since September 11th, 2001, the United States has spent more than $2 trillion, $2 trillion on the war in Afghanistan. That's a lot of debt relief.
Trillion, not billion, trillion.
Now we do have do you want to go ahead and go to the video? Check this video out, y'all. Our black farmers are still waiting, and they have been waiting.
John Wesley Boyd Jr. has been spit on, called boy and the N-word, and watched as a federal official tore up his application for a farm loan and threw it in the trash. And yet, he's pleading with young black people to return to working the soil.
I want blacks to reconnect with our roots, see it in a positive light. Negative light because of history. I got some starter pigs here.
Boyd was just 18 when he bought his first farm back in the 1980s, 110 acres in his native Mecklenburg County, Virginia. For 4 decades, this descendant of slaves and sharecroppers has been fighting a system that he says is stacked against him.
Now here we are free. Now you don't want us on the land. You don't want us to be farmers.
On his first visit to the local office of what was then called the Farmers Home Administration, he saw black men lined up in the hallways, waiting to see the loan officer. This as white farmers went straight in and emerged with fat government checks.
So I walked into the office and I went back in time.
That pattern of discrimination, now acknowledged by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, took a heavy toll. At the turn of the 20th century, about 14% of the nation's farmers were black. Today, it's around 1%.
We were tilling 20 million acres of land. Today, we're down to 4.5 million acres of land.
In 1996, Boyd lost one of his farms to a USDA foreclosure, but he fought back, becoming one of the first Black farmers to win a discrimination case against the agency. Today, Boyd owns 1,500 rolling acres, raising everything from soybeans to beef cattle, some of it on land that his ancestors once tilled as slaves.
Owning land that many of my forefathers worked on, for scotch-free, slave labor, man. I'm just trying to make them proud.
But the fight isn't over.
Passed.
When Congress approved $4 billion in debt relief to minority farmers as part of a COVID recovery bill earlier this year, white farmers sued. The claim, reverse discrimination.
Ooh, a long day.
Boyd's National Black Farmers Association has intervened in the case. He is joined by his wife, Kara, founder of the Association of American Indian Farmers. As he fights this latest battle, Boyd takes strength from the words of his grandfather.
The land knows no color. The land never mistreated anybody. People do. You can't leave your PhD to your children, but I can leave my poor raggedy farm to my children. Quitting isn't an option for me. I'm gonna die a farmer.
Alan Breed, Associated Press, Boydton, Virginia.
I hope the family
I started investing to put money back in
let that sit in.
Yahoo Finance helps me research.
What the man was saying. I know a lot of times Mr. Boyd has been on the front line for decades. Him along with elders like Shirley Sherrod. It's frustrating because what happens is the way these cameras work, the way news works, and the melanated mind, we assume it's just one or two farmers that's having a problem. We have a rapper that pops up, a male rapper that pops up pregnant or, challenges and all these things that distract us from what's going on. There's one thing. I have 1,500 acres of land that I'm wanting to produce something that thousands of people are going to consume versus, okay, I'm producing something that thousands of people are going to watch and then go on about their day. Our farmers are important, not just as a aesthetic, not just as, some romanticized concept that, hey, this is cool. This is how you gain power. There is a contingency of us that's like, man, stop using that word black. Stop using that word black. But whatever word you want to use, these are melanated farmers in what we call Turtle Island, North America, who are clearly not getting their due diligence when it comes from the central governing body, which we call the United States government. As somebody wanting to get into it, I want to have acres to pass down to my land, not just acres. I want to have a formidable business plan, already operational farm going. And one of the things that make me passionate about why we do B1AG, why I got into Farmer Brown, why I got into extension, why I got into teaching, is like we're at a severe deficit when it comes to our young people getting into agriculture. It's framed in such a way, when we have these conversations, I don't like to come from a negative standpoint. Personally, I'll say I wouldn't want anybody to deal with what I deal with or have dealt with, on this journey, because it'll make you not want to get into it. But I also understand, like he said, he wants to make his ancestors proud. Our ancestors did a lot of work for free, whether you want to say they were enslaved or just some bad deals. They did a lot of work for free and they weren't compensated. When we have this conversation, as we come up on the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, the whole purpose of 9/11 and the war in Afghanistan, the Middle East, from my modest understanding, was that there is a group of people over the ocean that decided they want to bring terror to the homeland, what we call North America. They trained in Afghanistan, which happens to supply 80% of an agricultural product that has created another epidemic of dope addiction, opium. But, that's another conversation. But the story given to us was, okay, we're going to go over there and uproot these networks that's creating terror in our homeland, so our citizens can live well. but I'm giving them money. I'm giving them money. We can't distinguish between Americans and black over here, but we can go over there and distinguish between Afghanistan, Pakistan, Persian Empire versus terrorists. Who likes us, who don't? When we look at a lot of the news stories right now, so there's, and I don't want to get into specifics of numbers, but there's hundreds of billions of dollars worth of equipment, worth of weapons that can and will inevitably be used against North America that was given to the people that we were told, our soldiers have been sent over there to fight. But then when we have this conversation, because see, if here at B1AG, we talk about solutions specifically around food production and getting the melanated family back involved in food production and supporting those who are in it. They can't even get debt relief. We're talking about literally a couple of thousand people can't get debt relief. And then there's millions of people that can get weapons that, you don't have to be in the FBI or special ops to understand, okay, a percentage of y'all are going to use this against us. And we gave you the weapons. We gave you the money to do this. You think about the president's name, and I can't think of it right now. The Afghanistan president, as soon as the Taliban started encroaching, as soon as the deadline to withdraw troops came about, he dipped. They said, with carloads of cash. And I imagine he had more cash on hand than what these black farmers have gotten over the last few decades from the government that they not only agreed to operate within, but, our melanated ancestors helped build this country that we're saying we want to protect. But then we find ourselves in a situation where those who want to harm the country are getting more financial support than those who helped build it for the sake of feeding people. How do we explain this, family?
It's definitely perplexing, to say the least. According to the Forbes report, this government, Uncle Sam, has spent more money keeping the Taliban at bay than the net worths of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and the 30 richest billionaires in America combined. And again, we made the point recently that if you just look at the net worths of Jeff Bezos, which is $197.2 billion, and Bill Gates, which is $132.5 billion, that's enough money to almost give every single American in this country close to $1 billion apiece. Yet, these millionaires, they don't really pay taxes like that. And the things that would help our country in just looking at food production, just to feed our country, is such a drop in the bucket of what of these just two billionaires, just a drop in the bucket of what their net worth is, could cure hunger in this entire country. Let alone if we're talking about rebuilding and strengthening our food system by first looking at our black farmers in this country. Again, the amount of money it would take is just a drop in the bucket. And at the end of the day, black farmers don't just feed black people, they feed this country.
Terrorism is defined in the Code of Federal Regulations as the unlawful use of force, coming burning your farm up, threatening you if you go sign people up to vote, the unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property, the farm would classify as property, to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. That is the definition of terrorism. Here at B1AG, we like to talk about code. And so, we want to follow those who are successful, right? And so a country like what we call the Corporation of the United States of America says, don't negotiate with terrorists. Don't negotiate with terrorists. And so we got to look at who has been the victims of terrorism. We're not here to offer conjecture, more so than, okay, if we're going to go by this definition, what group of people have experienced this? As civilians, many of us experience on a financial, economic level, being shut out of certain opportunities, being shut out of certain jobs, being ostracized, being left out of certain segments of society. But when we break this down to farmers, like Mr. Boyd was saying, like we're down to a couple million acres of land. At a time we was farming on 15 to 20% of the land. Now it's down to a couple million. That wasn't because everybody just said, no, I don't want to grow food and feed people and make profit and have something to pass down to my kids. That ain't what happened. It was forcefully taken. It was forcefully coerced in many ways. And so I'm making this point to say, family, do you negotiate with terrorists? Am I saying that everybody in the United States government is a terrorist? No. You can't, you don't want to make these broad reaching accusations. But have there been factions within the United States government that have enacted acts of terrorism upon black farmers? Absolutely. And I'm not making this up. The USDA said this, and this is why they brought forth the Farmers of Color and Socially Disadvantaged, that act this past year that we've been talking about. And so there's an admission of, hey, I've terrorized you people. And it was one thing, I had you scared, up at night, not able to sleep, but you lost something. What did you lose? You lost the ability to pass something down to your offspring, to your progeny. You lost the ability to earn money. Well, guess what? We wouldn't be asking for reparations had we been able to do business, because our ancestors proved in Black Wall Street and many of the other black towns, and I use that word black loosely, our ancestors proved that, hey, with reasonable resources, we cool. We know y'all got y'all's own objectives going on. We're not bothering you. But when you actively take away from people, when you actively cut, chop people's feet from under them, which is what has happened with these black farmers, which is what Mr. Boyd has been stressing for the last few decades. There lies a problem. And so here at B1AG, once again, we're not coming here talking about we have all of the answers, but I know an obvious answer, like I said, stand on code. Who's successful is you don't negotiate with terrorists. Part of me, and I only speak for myself, is waiting on the government to give you something. This debt forgiveness is equivalent to negotiating with a terrorist. On the flip side of this, what have we seen happening over the last few weeks? Hey, Taliban, if you don't do this, if you let us get out safely, I'll give you this. I'll give you these helicopters. I'll give you all these Humvees. I'll give you all of these weapons. That's negotiating. And what has the United States received in return? 13 casualties. And I would just like to send my condolences to all of those families. 13 casualties, 13 soldiers, hundreds of U.S. citizens that are stuck over there. This is what you get from negotiating with terrorists. And I doubt a terrorist is going to be like, okay, I breached our contract, and so let me go and give you this bread back. It don't work like that. So family, how do we apply these lessons to when we talk about our black farmers? When we talk about what Mr. Boyd was saying about how do we get these young people back involved, you don't start from a place of asking your terrorizer to help you make this happen, because we see this can will get kicked down the road in perpetuity. Not to hop off a subject, but we were talking about this before we started this podcast. I think there's a narrative being set up where the person occupying the White House right now, somebody's going to say, oh, well, he was crazy. And so those decisions that were made in 2021, it wasn't our fault. The person occupying that office didn't, have all of the scruples. And so what that's going to do is kick the can down the road and take away the blame or take away. Family, we got to look at this thing long term, to get away from the negative talk. Now, what can we do? What do we have the power to do right now? Right now, we know melanated people influence what is cool in the world. Especially here in the West. We influence what's cool. We influence culture. We influence what people see as, hey, this is the cool thing to do. Nobody knows how to have fun like the melanated folks in North America, right? How can we make being reconnected with nature fun to the younger people? As we get older, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. But how do we make this something that younger people embrace early? How do we then take it to the next level? Hey, not only just enjoy and appreciate the healthy benefits of nature, but how do you make a business somewhere involved in nature? Mr. Boyd, I imagine there's a network of people he has to deal with to make his farm profitable. He has to deal with somebody who's checking water quality. You don't want to water your crops, water your livestock, your animals with bad water. And so somebody has to get good at the science of figuring that out. Hey, I don't want bad seeds like the farmers in Tennessee got from the Stein Seed Company. And so who's doing the science of where these good seeds are coming from? Are we creating seed banks? Are we promoting a group of young people who are wanting to get into law to specifically get codified around, okay, we need to get into environmental law. We need to be able to have a team of us, not everybody, but at least a dozen melanated men and women across the country who, okay, as I go to school, I know I'm going to get into law to represent these farmers who may not necessarily understand the legalese of how to get their land back or keep their land or be able to purchase more land. There were reports a couple of weeks ago. It was a sister. She was trying to sell her property, and she had to get her white friend to sell it because by her selling it, she got significantly less of an offer. This same dynamic exists when you're talking about farms. This same dynamic exists when you're talking about trying to get your product on the market. When I talk about the power we have as a community, so if it's 40 million, 50 million of us here, we all have to eat. We all have to do that. There's not one person I know walking this planet, regardless of what background you come from, that doesn't have to eat something. So there lies a codified connector, condensation nuclei to bring this collective of hungry brown people together to say, now, can we do something to help these melanated farmers out here? Because we see they're not getting help. If we let another year like 2021 pass where, okay, somebody said at the beginning of the year, I'm going to give you some debt relief. I'm going to give you some help. And we're almost to the end of the year. It's almost harvest time now. And so all of the farmers who was waiting all year, okay, I ain't going to put anything in the ground because I thought I was going to get some help. They're not going to have much of a harvest. All of the farmers that said, okay, they said they're going to give me some help, so let me go on and come out of my pocket and go on and put something in the ground with the hopes, with the prayers that these people are going to follow through with what they said they're going to do. They didn't get it, so now you're out of pocket. And so once again, as a group of people, as a collective of people who eat, what can we do to make this a conversation that we have? There's a lot of people mad about certain press releases recently, like I said, with the rapper who's pregnant. Same rapper, doing all sorts of things. These are distractions, family, when we think about the milk crate challenges, when we think about these online beefs with the popular content creators that we all love and listen to. Every bit of energy we give to being upset about these things is that much energy we're not putting into how can we create a solution. Like I said, my food purchase ain't got nothing to do with what I pray to. If I don't pray, what I do in my spare time, what I do in my bedroom, my purchases have nothing to do with that. When you think about the conversations we have, this is when you get into Nilly Fuller. This is when, okay, a lot of us are having conversations and gatherings that aren't producing anything. Okay, hey, man, we hung around each other today. You got your pass, I got my pass. You got your juice, I got my juice. Let's go turn up. What was the productive outcome? I enjoyed this concert for a couple of hours, and I'm going to go right back to a community who every day is declining in its food security, its capacity to be able to feed the inhabitants of its community. Hey, man, we were able to go out and, go to our favorite bar. Okay, I turned up, had a good time, whatever feeling or wear off. What do we have to show for it? While we're around each other, because we see, social interaction is becoming more and more of a challenge, depending on the other thing that we've discussed a little bit. So as we still do have a space to be able to connect with one another, are we making formidable connections? Are our conversations about, hey, bro, just in case we do find ourselves in a lockdown situation again, have we discussed what this food network looks like? Has we discussed what this distribution network looks like in our community? Hey, sister, I think we're up to Mu now. There's a Mu variant. We've had Lambda. We've had Delta. We're going to go through the whole Greek alphabet, then Roman, and then all these other alphabets, I imagine, every year because it's profitable. And so as we're having these issues, we see that's going to affect the way we educate one another. That's going to affect how we educate our children. And so instead of being reactive, are we proactively saying, okay, I saw this OG, Mr. Boyd, talking about he has a goal of getting young people involved in agriculture. How many Mr. Boyds exist across the country who have this intent in their heart? And so me as a conscientious, I might be in the middle of the hood, but I know that there's people within 50 miles of me that have this same intent that this Mr. Boyd character did. And so, yeah, I'm going to take some of these young cats under my wing that look up to me, listen to what I say. We're going to go visit some of these farms and socially distance, just in case there's an app that wants to know where you're at, like they got going on in Australia. Hey, when we reach out to your phone, you need to contact us within 15 minutes or we're going to send somebody knocking to your door. That's happening in Australia, a place where the Aboriginals were wiped out. And as we sit here on Turtle Island, you know, the mind, if you study history, hey, some of these same objectives seem like they could possibly be being played out. And so as to not end up like the Aboriginals of Australia, how do we make sure we're codified around making sure we're eating? Supporting those that produce the food that we eat and making sure that it's enough of us going into the field that produces food that we eat. Because not too many groups around the country have the relative power and benefit and opportunity that we have right now as I'm talking. And every day, you know, they're getting shredded away, family.
Now, going back to the article with Forbes magazine, this is this is pretty telling, because these costs that they're spending on the Afghanistan war and just period since 2001, September 11, 2001, it said more than $2 trillion. The study was actually done by Brown University, and the cost is not just the government, it's the U.S. taxpayers as well. U.S. taxpayers have been giving Afghan soldiers $750 million a year in payroll. All told, Brown University's Cost of War project estimates the total spending at $2.26 trillion. All I know is that's a lot of collard greens. That's a lot of, you know, that's a lot of oxtails. That's a lot of apples. That's a lot of grapes. That's a lot of watermelon. That's a lot of anything that we could grow. That's a lot of food, y'all. Now you think about this rent moratorium that they just ended. Think about how much rent that is. Think about how much housing that is. It's a lot of money that we put towards other things in other countries that we would never even think of putting towards our own country and our own people. And if you did even have the gall to say, hey, instead of spending $2.26 trillion fighting Afghanistan, why don't we just spend that on American people? You'd have pushback from American people.
The irony, I got to correct you, bro. You said fighting Afghanistan. The irony is the people who got the money are the people, the Taliban, right?
Right.
So the money went to the people that we, the people, were told that you're fighting. How does that work? Like, hey, man, I'm coming to the schoolyard to fight you, but I'm going to pay you as I'm fighting you. How does that work? How does that work?
We might have to ask Don King. That's how Don.
And then
King
I'm gonna bring planes full of you over here. I mean, I haven't really vetted you. I don't know who's who, what's what you're loyal to. And so, you know, here shortly, as we come up on this 20-year anniversary, think about this, family. Think about the justification of the implications of the Patriot Act. I have to put my tinfoil kufi on and dive into this rabbit hole right now. So you know that there is going to be an event, right? Something's going to blow up. Something's going to happen. Maybe an energy grid. Something is going to happen that we're going to have either the guy in the White House now, his vice president, you know, after they say, oh, he's crazy and incompetent. Oh, we have to lock down even more because we're under this severe threat. And so instead of, you know, making it rain on those who are producing food that can keep us fed as we're going through these events, instead of putting money on them, we're going to keep funneling this money, you know, negotiating with these terrorists who put us in this situation. And it's going to justify it. And you're going to get a critical mass of North Americans who are that's going to be like, oh, yeah, I feel so unsafe. So, yeah, do whatever you got to do. Here's some more of my civil liberties. Okay, I need to protect you. So go on and, you know, give me all of your information. What do you eat? How much of it do you eat? Okay, and the other day I keep digressing, but I'm not. We were talking about these food cubes. It's gonna come a point. Oh, it's unsafe for you to go to a grocery store, and we're destroying the planet by producing natural food. And since y'all Negroes wasn't investing in y'all's own land, since y'all wasn't making it rain on y'all's own producers, you're now dependent on me and my experimental meat. And you're dependent on me and my experimental square nutrient squares, because y'all didn't think ahead, because y'all were doing crate challenges. Y'all was sitting here beefing, seeing who's twerking better. Y'all was, it comes to a point where we're responsible. 2020 was the year of clarity. Hey, y'all, this is what it is. This guy Trump that came in, take politics out of the picture. You were made aware of how a large percentage of the nation you reside feels about you. They felt like they had a hero in there, so now I feel comfortable coming out letting these people know how I feel. And that's not to say all of the MAGA people were just, anti-black, because we see the Bidenites, those that are drinking the Biden juice, feel the same way, right? Tim Ford Kofi, yeah. But we got to be real. We have to learn from history, and history is, I can't think of any time, when I talk to my elders, that these people have been straight up. When we think about the forked tongue, I'm telling you, I'm helping you. I'm telling you, I'm keeping you safe. I want to keep you fed. I want to make sure that in the midst of my economy going bad, in the midst of all of this chaos, in the midst of my infrastructure crumbling, I'm just thinking about how I can keep y'all brown folks healthy. I seen an article earlier, bro. They were saying, as climate change happened, the sun is going to hurt the melanated communities worse. They didn't say melanated, they said the M word, the minority word. I thought we were the sun-kissed people.
We know better than that.
If you got somebody that's coming at you, telling you lies it's gaslighting. I think that's the term, gaslighting. I'm telling you something that's obviously wrong. And if you're foolish enough to go along with me, then you deserve everything I've done to you. It comes a spirit of discernment. Y'all are the spiritual people. I remember reading some of the historical books, and they were just talking about when you think about Al-Kibalon or Africa, or even the melanated people that were, I ain't gonna say discovered here. Hey, these are a spiritual group of people. So spiritual people aren't ignorant. Spiritual people have the spirit of discernment. What are other things that these spiritual people have in common? They were connected with Pangea, Mother Earth, Tiamat. They were connected with the land. What did you connect with the land with? Just the land, the grass? No, you produced. The land produced what you need. And so if you let this deceptive terrorist organization convince you that the only way you can take care of yourself is just listening to me, versus supporting those of you like the Mr. Boyds that have taken the time to pick up the skill of producing food. If y'all can't support them, if y'all can't support this country full of young melanated kids who need something to do because the education system is crumbling before our eyes, if y'all can't seize upon this opportunity to teach them from the ground up how to put a seed in the ground, how to cultivate it, how to grow it, how to use the natural resources around you to make sure this grows, harvest it, get rid of the weeds, work with others to be able to store it, making sure it doesn't go bad, making sure you can distribute it to those that need it the most, your elderly, your young. If you can't figure out, working with those that know how to build structures, those that understand the logistics of, okay, this is the shortest point from point A to point B to distribute this product that was produced from this group of people. That's the best education, because, it goes right along with what we need. I think the brother was saying, man, you can get these PhDs, all of these degrees, but if it's not feeding anybody, if it's not putting other people in the community you represent in a better position to move forward, what do you got to gain? I can't pass my degrees down to my kids. As they get older, they're not going to be able to eat dad's diploma. And I mean, even if paper was consumable, okay, this one meal, this diploma's gone. Oh, dad got a good job. Are you going to eat this good job? Oh, dad's popular. People like that. Can you eat those like buttons?
Man, it's the biggest thing that stood out to me in this Forbes study. Well, first I'm going to talk about, those two FDA scientists that stepped down. because they felt that this medicinal therapy that's being pushed on us, the FDA really had no say in it. So those scientists stood down. So the thing that they said, which stood out to me, was the public will pay a price. The public will pay a price. And in this Forbes article, I'm just reading directly from the Forbes article. And the costs are even greater in terms of lives lost. There have been 2,500 U.S. military deaths in Afghanistan and nearly 4,000 more U.S. civilian contractors killed. That pales beside the estimated 69,000 Afghan military police, 47,000 civilians killed, plus 51,000 dead opposition fighters. The cost so far to care for 20,000 U.S. casualties has been $300 billion, with another $500 billion or so expected to come. The public will pay a price. These Taliban, they got more money from the U.S. than our black farmers, without blinking an eye. And unwittingly, the article also showed that $750 million a year of that came from U.S. taxpayers. But our farmers can't get debt relief, let alone monies being locked out from opportunities and monies that would help their operations to feed this country, not just black people, but the whole country. We're in the middle of a drought. Those farmers on the West Coast are deciding not to plant or have ripped up their crops and just plowed their fields because there's not any water to feed the plants. So it's almost harvest season. That for all those tons and hundreds of tons and millions of pounds of food that we usually get from California during harvest season is not going to be there. It's not uncommon to go into the store today and see empty shelves. What do you think they're going to look like after harvest season? We got to put these seeds in the ground, y'all. We have to.
$2 billion. $2 billion would give each melanated, what we call black farmer in North America, $50,000. $2 billion investment we're not even gonna call that reparations. That's just 1,000 would help, if you need to build some ponds, if you need to get equipment, if you need to get some seed, infrastructure on your farm, barns, structures, processing equipment. Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh's heart is cold. It's hardened. And you're watching the civilization shoot itself in the foot. Like you said, black farmers don't just feed black people, brown people, melanated people, however you want to word it. They produce a product that we say we want to help the citizens. We, over the last year and a half, we want to keep you healthy and safe. We know food is, the first cure for illness. And so you give somebody that is vowed that in the Middle East, they fight blood wars. I mean, if you did my dad, I'm not going to stop until I get you. That is their culture. That is culture. It's not for me or anybody else to say, hey, you're wrong for that. That's how they live. That's how they get down. Blood wars. And so you would rather make it rain on somebody who's vowed, and they'll say anything like, I'll let you train my army. Yeah, train me. What do you know? Now, how do I use this? Okay, and where are your weak spots? And when you decide to leave, ran out on the plug. When it's my time to pay, I'm going to bet on you. They young thugged us. And then in return, we're young thugging our own black farmers. Brother, right now, this is one of the great times. There's groups online, national black farmers nationwide. There's a lot of groups on Instagram. I don't have them pulled up in front of me right now, but I mean, it's literally hashtagging Black farmers. This is the time to connect while these, while we still have access to these devices. Also, your cooperative extension office. Every county has a cooperative extension office, and this is going to be through your land grant university. And the way to find a Black farmer. So if you're in an area where you don't know the first place to start, like I said, start with the institutions, because your cooperative extension office, by the nature of that institution, they have a network of farmers that they have to work with, because the farmers go to them for research-based information, update with programs. I work in extension, so I understand extension agents need wins. So an extension agent wants to be like, yeah, I connected this person with this farmer over here. Yeah, I got this farmer this equipment. And so it's my suggestion, instead of going to asking the government, hey, will y'all be nice and do the right thing, take advantage of the government resources that do exist. It's one of those, when you're talking about extension, it's a scratch my back, I scratch yours. Extension agent, I know you need some numbers. Me as somebody in the community, it was brought to my attention that I represent a group of people who have been disenfranchised, and they produce a product, agricultural product, and they need support. So can you point me in the direction of them? So once you found one Black farmer, upon having this conversation and being genuine, don't waste nobody's time. Hey, farmer, I got $20. I got $100. I'm gonna spend with you. I don't know too many melanated farmers be like, no, I don't want to take this money. You want to spend with me, right? And from that conversation, you meet 2 or 3 others. And if you care, the same amount of time it takes me to watch some of my favorite content creators, I might spend 2-3 hours a day studying content creators. It takes about that long to meet a couple of new farmers. I saw a brother on here in Stockton, California. So I know there's some farmers out there. I hope you join us on healthyblackfood.com. And so we do these courses. We get a lot more in depth. We pull up resources to really, pinpoint. Because, like I said, we want to get out of this aesthetic, this romanticized concept of, support the Black farmers. We want to be very codified. While we have the opportunity, we really want to make sure people are connecting with one another. And it starts with one, just the same way, metaphorical and literally speaking. It starts that first seed of, okay, I'm going to actively inquire, finding a farmer that's close to me. I guarantee most farmers, 99.9% of farmers have other farmers that they know. Because, once again, dealing in this agricultural field is cutthroat. You think the dope game is horrible. Oh, the food game is cutthroat. And so wise farmers understand, I'm not about to let everybody know what I got going on, because everybody, that's what did Booker T. Watley say, beware of the middleman, avoid the middleman like a plague. And so it's the thing of, let me not be a middleman. Let me be a conscientious consumer. I'm coming from a community. I'm in the hood in Chicago. I'm in Miami. I'm in Houston. I'm coming from a hood, but I know I got 10 other people, D-boys, whoever. I got 10 other people that agree that, hey, we're willing to put some money into a bag to go get some locally produced food. And the average producer, I know, isn't going to turn that money down. And from that, this is how you build these networks. Hey, matter of fact, between all of us, my group, we got about 40 kids that are now having to learn remotely because their schools are shut down because of alpha, beta, gamma, delta, all of these different variants going around. So we want to see if we can come out maybe once or twice a week for a couple of hours and just tour your farm. If we throw you $100, $200 per hour, can you kind of talk to these kids about what they do? Do you have some relatively safe activities they can help you with? Milking, building fences, weeding, just something so they can get some hands-on activity. And I'm saying this because it's worked in Kentucky, right? It's worked where we're at with very limited resources. And so I know the brothers and sisters that are watching this, these are things that we have access to right now. These are opportunities that are available to us right now, because our farmers are not going to get the help they need from the government and the agencies who've been tasked with giving that help. I don't want to wait another day. I don't want to wait another second waiting on the terrorists to decide they're going to play fair.
There it is. Y'all heard it. Healthyblackfood.com. Yes, we do teach you how to grow your own food. Yes, it is very engaging. It's great for the kids. It's great for the adults as well. It sets up a great activity that the kids and the adults can do together. It can help bring your family closer together. Plus, it's something that you can see tangible results in the food that you produce. But also, more importantly, you'll have classmates at blackfood.com from all over the country. It gives you an opportunity to network with them. It gives you an opportunity where we can share resources. It gives you an opportunity to make sure that, hey, if the hits the fan, well, I know somebody over here. I know somebody over there. I know somebody here. Or I got in contact with this organization there. I can make sure that my family is going to have something to eat. I can make sure that my community is going to make sure that we are going to be able to eat. If they say I can't go into this grocery store unless I have this app or this pass, I know that regardless, I'm going to be able to eat. If I don't have any money in my pocket, or they take away my little card that allows me to get food, I know that me and mines are going to be able to eat. Let's get it together, y'all. Please like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. Like. Share. Subscribe. Let's make this a bigger conversation. There are a lot of changes going on to our food system, our food networks, and our ability to be food secure. No games about it. You know, this is not conjecture. This is not conspiratorial thought. We ain't crazy. We ain't insane. We're trying to stay ahead of the curve, be solution based, so that when it comes tumbling down, we already have the foundation built or a whole nother structure built to make sure that we carry on. And it's that important. Like, share, subscribe. Now, talked about a lot today. But at the end of the day, I think we need to pay attention to those FDA scientists. The public will pay a price. This Forbes article shows the price just in one aspect of life, and that's the Afghanistan war, of how much money has been spent. Estimated $2.26 trillion. $2.26 trillion. That's a lot of money. $750 million a year going to Afghan soldiers' payroll that came from U.S. taxpayers. But our farmers, our black farmers, are still waiting on debt relief that was promised to them 6 months ago. And it's almost harvest season. In the middle of climatic change, in the middle of the worst drought in recorded history, where there's going to be less food available for everyone. They're paying farmers not to grow. They're paying farmers not to grow. And our farmers, the black farmers, that the debt relief that was promised to them, they still haven't gotten it. But they're paying farmers not to grow. We got to grow our own food, y'all, and take it that serious. We got to make that a priority in our life. We got to make sure that our people know and understand the seriousness of the days we are living in and how serious and how cold this winter can be. There's still a little sunshine out there. The sun's still out. Winter's coming. And also, we need support. We need to make sure that we can support this platform. We do have merchandise available. Our merchandise is available right there at B1AG merchandise.creatorspring.com. We have a lot of great merchandise for you. And also among this merchandise, we also have, we do have the surgical, the face masks. We do have the gaiters. We have practical. Yes, we have practical merchandise that you can use for your everyday living. But outside of just t-shirts and sweatshirts, they look great. But we do have masks as well as gaiters that will keep you safe. They'll keep you safer than a lot of these medicinal treatments. Because right now, I joke when I say it, but right now the world has the cooties. The world has the cooties, man. So keep yourself safe. And Farmer Brown, here at B1AG, we like to say, if you really, really want to know something, what do the people need to do, bro? Keep calm.
If you really want to know something, don't negotiate with terrorists and learn how to grow something.
Holla at a black farmer near you. Network with a black farmer near you. Keep calm. Don't panic.
We got this.
Well, y'all, we appreciate you checking us out, hearing our story. This is also your story. Like, share, and subscribe to B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. We're all connected. We're all connected in this. We all have a stake in this. We all deserve a seat at the dinner table. So if they're not going to give us one, if the terrorists aren't going to give us a seat at the dinner table, we'll build our own table, grow our own food, and reap our own harvest. So we'll be coming back with you soon. B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. I'm John Henry Harris, Farmer Brian MC. Y'all be blessed. Hey, let's get to growing. See you soon.